Hi, I wanted to make a short video about my note-taking software that I really enjoy. It's called Obsidian, and in my last video on React Act, people asked me, what note-taking software are you using? What part of VS Code is this? What theme is it? And I wanted to address that. It's actually not VS Code. It's a separate app called Obsidian, and I use it all the time. I use it daily, basically. I use it in my personal life and at work, and I find it incredibly helpful. And I like it because it's so simple and it just works on text files. So let me show you what I use it for and how I use it. So to give you some background, I started just using VS Code as a simple note-taking program, just like this. I had a folder, I called it Notes, and then every day I'd make a new text file and put some notes in there. And it worked, it was super simple. And eventually I wanted to get something a little more featureful. And there's tons of note-taking software out there. I happen to enjoy Obsidian and the way it works. So this is the one I ended up using. And the reason I like it, again, because it's so simple, it uses Markdown, which I'm very familiar with, and it's very extensible. So as a developer, I can go in and sort of tinker with the internals and install new plugins, install new themes, just like you can with VS Code. It's really fun. So some of the features I like to use, sync, I pay for that. So what this does is it will take the content that you have in your vault, which is like a note-taking repository in Obsidian. It'll take your vault and sync it to the cloud, and then you can access that vault from any other device. So I also use their mobile app every day just to take notes for myself or little to-dos. And the sync allows the notes on my computer to also show up on my mobile app. Otherwise, they would be sort of separate vaults. Obsidian is local by default, and if you want to have them talk to each other, different instances of Obsidian, you can either pay for sync, which is like $5 or $10 a month or something, or you can set it up yourself with like a Git repo, for example. I didn't feel like doing that, and $5 a month is not a big deal, so I pay for the sync feature, but you totally don't have to. The other feature that I really enjoy is the canvas. And you know, when I first saw the canvas, I thought, wow, that looks really cool. I'm probably never going to use it because it's so simple. And what I mean by that is I can make a new box in here, and I can connect that box to other boxes, and then I can add some other notes or some media, and that's about it. Actually, there's really nothing else going on in here. And I thought that was really limited. And what I have found out is that is more of a feature than a bug. All the other note-taking software I use that does diagrams, the diagrams are just like confusing and kind of hard to use, and there's too much going on. And the thing I really like about these is it's just boxes and arrows. And it turns out that's kind of all you need. So I really enjoy the simplicity and the sort of constrained nature of the diagramming in Obsidian because it really keeps me on task. Let's see. Oh yeah, my daily notes. You can see we have a little icon over here that says open today's daily note. If I click on this, it would take me to my daily note here. And you can set up a template for what this does. So every time I open a daily note this way, it'll either make a new one or go back to the one I already had open for that day. And you can create a template. So every time I make a new one, it'll plop these things in here and make a new to-do list for me and put the date at the top, which is really cool. So it's very customizable. And the last thing that I want to talk about is themes. That was one of the questions. What theme am I using? I'm using this one called Everforest Enchanted. And you can see there's just tons of themes. You can even make your own because if you're a web developer, they're all done in CSS. This is basically just a web browser, essentially. There's HTML going on under the hood. I think it's an Electron app. And so if you're a web developer, it's very hackable, just like VS Code is, which is super cool. So there's tons of themes. There's tons of plugins. You can find tons of videos on how to use those plugins and which ones are good or whatever. So that's what I really like about Obsidian. It's super simple. It's very easy to use. It's free. I happen to pay for the sync, but you don't have to. And the final thing that I want to say about Obsidian and sort of all note-taking software is that it only works if it works for you. There's tons of advice on the internet about the one note-taking app that crushed my productivity goals, or I do this one thing and I'm so much more efficient. It's like, no, just stop. You're not going to become a genius overnight just by using some program. Use this if you want to take notes. And if you don't like taking notes, then don't use it. That's as simple as that. I really like taking notes. I find it very helpful, but you don't have to. Please don't feel shamed by the pervasive productivity advice on the internet. It's kind of ridiculous. You do you and have a good time doing it. All right. Hope that's helpful. Bye-bye.